Hey guys, welcome back. As you can tell, I'm outside here. I'm right in front of the shop because this is where I have set up my evaporator. As you saw in my last video, I was out getting my first sap run collected, and to be honest, that went pretty well. I got probably, what I think I got, 30 gallons, maybe 25, somewhere in there. Anyways, I went out and got a little bit more today just before I brought it over here to the evaporator, and lucky for me, I'm sitting right around 40 gallons now. So that's going to put that barrel evaporator there to the test. As you may have seen in my other videos, I built that thing this year, so that is a huge upgrade from last year where I just had buffet trays sitting on a wood stove. So I don't know how long it's going to take to boil down 40 gallons, but this will be your first glimpse at it. I'm going to estimate I'll probably be out here for the better part of 6 or 7 hours. So clock's ticking. I'm hoping it goes smoothly, and I'm also hoping the wind doesn't blow a tree on the shop because I'm going to be sitting in there for quite a while. Anyways, let's go on inside. I'll give you guys a once over and you guys can see exactly what I'm up against here. So there it is there. As you guys can see behind me, that is the barrel evaporator. That is what I spent quite a bit of time building over the winter. And as you can see, we're not even boiling yet. I just got the sap filtered and put in there. At the back here, you guys can see my setup for my warming trays. So I cleaned this up a little bit. I got the oxidization off, and I'm ready to crack that valve as soon as this stuff gets boiling. Turning around here behind me and looking upwards, what you guys are about to see, nope, not there, up there. What you guys are about to see is a handy dandy shack I just built. Now, I just came up with this. I was going to throw a tarp up there, and I thought, you know what, I got some extra steel. So I threw the roofing steel up there, threw down some 2x6s, and opened the doors to where I usually keep my snowmobiles. And what you see before you is a pretty decent little shack that's going to keep the wind off me. So that's where I'm going to be spending my time, in those chairs in there. As you can see, I got 2 of them. I also have this right here, my wood pile set up. So I just feed that right into the wood stove, or into the barrel rather. If we have a look in there, we're just starting to get her nice and hot. So hopefully before long that'll be boiling. Over here, what I have is my finishing filter. This is a bit of a thicker material. I built this little contraption here so that I can pour the almost finished syrup down in here before being filtered into the larger container that I will use to then finish up and dish out into my container. So that's my finishing filter, hard to say. Over here is my initial filter, the filter that I use, and you can see all the beautiful things in the bottom there. The filter that I use to filter the sap when it comes right from the tree, which I collected in this barrel before I put it into the evaporator. So I hauled this right inside. What I end up doing is I use one of those ice cream containers. I get this positioned over top of the bucket, and then I just use one of my pots. Yeah, this is a clean one. Use one of my pots from inside the house and scoop it out and dump it through the filter from there directly into the evaporator. So that's where we're at. That's our first glimpse. I know I'll be showing you a few clips out here, and I can tell you one thing, it will probably be dark by the time I finish up. But glad you guys are all here. Glad you can take part in my first boil with my barrel evaporator of the 2020 maple syrup season. So here we go. Well folks, things are really picked up out here. I got the fire ripping now, and as you can tell, I got a good roll and boil going. I don't know if you can see through that steam or not, but my drip is looking pretty good there. I'm just playing around with how much of the cold sap I can put in there without keeping the, or without stopping rather, the roll and boil. Want to have as much as possible, but still keep that boil. Back there, I got my supervisor as always. Hey, Coda? Coda? Attaboy, you watching? Okay, he's still watching, so we're well underway here. I'm going to keep at it. I'm probably going to be several more hours. As you can tell, the chimney's getting nice and hot. It's discoloring, so life is good out here at my makeshift sugar camp. So back to it. All right, guys, well, it's a few hours later. As you can tell, the old hound dog and myself are still hanging out. I'm going to show you exactly what I get up to as I'm sitting out here and passing the time. I get one of these strainers and I take off the impurities, which happen to be in the form of this, I don't know, what do you call that, foam. I guess the foam impurities. So I take those off with a strainer, like so, and then we just discard it. I do the same thing at the back. And sounds like something's coming down out there from the wind. So besides going back and forth taking off the impurities, the only other thing I do is I get a pot, not this obviously, and from time to time I transfer from the back to the front, and then I also make sure that the back two, which have the relatively cold sap in it, preheating. So I'm about halfway due for some sap, so I'll probably top those up and then I'll just have to sit back down and wait again. Now, one other thing I noticed while I've been sitting out here, you have an awful lot of time to analyze the boil, and the front pan wasn't quite getting as hot as the back pan. That could be for any number of reasons. And so what I tried to do is tinker around a little bit, and I tinkered around with this. Now, this is the fan you guys would have seen in my other video. I have designed this cutout here with a steel tube to feed air directly into the fire to make sure it's burning as hot as possible. That really helped get the boil up. And so if you have, excuse me, if you have something like this set up, or even a little fan down there pumping air into the fire, you're probably going to get your boil a lot harder and a lot faster. So that's it for me. I'm sitting back down and going to wait a while longer. Well, patience is a virtue, and I can tell you, you certainly need some patience with making maple syrup. I've probably been out here for a good 4 hours. Aside from the nice warm temperature, the only other good thing is I got Coda, and we got one heck of a nice light show coming up the top of the chimney. I don't know what gauge steel this barrel is, but I can tell you I'm probably burning it pretty hot right now, so I think Coda's telling me the same thing. Anyways, I'm gonna keep out of here. I got a few hours left, so here we go. Now, for those of you who have a barrel evaporator just like mine, and I think I got a loose connection in this light, regardless, if you got one of these evaporators, one thing that I find that's really working to keep both of these pans just boiling and ripping real good is I keep this front pan, which tends to burn a bit cooler. I keep this front pan a little bit lower in terms of the level of the sap. I keep it at about half, and some of the steam would get out of here. Get out of there. Some of the steam would get out of here. You would see that this has about half of a container as compared to the back, which I fill most of the way up. So if you're going ahead and you're looking at ways to get both of these boiling really, really well, keep this front one at half the level of the back one, and that tends to work real well, at least for me. So I'm going to take off the impurities while I'm here. Just taking off the foam here, and it's quite the smell. I tell you, if you're standing here right now, you'd be just breathing deep, because that maple syrup, that sweet smell is out there in the air, and that steam. Beautiful thing. A bit eerie out here tonight. The wind is just fierce. I'm just waiting for one of these big trees to come crashing down. I don't know where, but hopefully not on this shack I'm sitting under. Anyways, I'm gonna let that keep boiling. I got a while yet. Well, folks, the only consolation for staying up this late is you get the nice smell of the maple syrup, and we're getting real close here. As you can see, I am just about ready to start the finishing process, so hopefully that's going to take place within the next half hour, because it is already about 10:30 at night, and I've been out here for hours. So, wind's still howling, the dog's still waiting, and I'm just about ready to finish. So, let's get this done here. Well guys, plan A didn't work, so plan B is here, and as you can tell, if you can see that time and behind there, it is a little bit on the late side. So I should have been in bed about 5 hours and 40 minutes ago. Regardless, we're still here, we're still boiling. I'm just about finished. I'll tell you all about the challenges of using that little induction heater I planned on using to finish. I'll tell you about that tomorrow. I need to finish this, and I need to get to bed. We're almost there. Hold on. Well, folks, welcome back. It is the morning after that incredibly long first day of boiling, and I can tell you I learned a few things. One thing I'm going to tell you guys all about, so you don't make the same mistake I did, was thinking that this type of induction heater, move my stuff out of the way, this type of induction heater element is going to work for you. This thing, yeah, it boils water, but to tell you the truth, to get it up to the temperature I was looking for, which is approximately 219 Fahrenheit, according to my sugar or my candy thermometer. I really had to wait, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. I could not get this induction heater to get my sap up to the 219 temperature I needed to sustain that heat to get it finished into syrup. I gave up on this thing. As you saw, I went into the house. I went into the house around 12:30, give or take, or I don't even know what time it was. It was after midnight. I sat there and I waited. That thing was a lot better, but I was still up till 2 o'clock bottling. So I'm a little groggy, to say the least. I learned some things, and that's the main thing. We're all out here just for fun. I'm not doing this for a living, and so I'm going to take what I learned last night, hopefully apply it to my next boil, because as you can see up yonder behind me, I am back at it. So it's a bit of an itch I got to scratch here. It is the 2020 season. I'm still learning, and I hope you guys come along. So I'll see you guys all next time.